Right, let's get back to Kempton. Their next contest isn't too far away. It's the 8 o'clock this time. Horses are in the parade ring for the 6 furlong handicap, and Anthony Dunkley is up close and personal.
Tom, you are accurate. There are some horses in, not nearly all of them though. There's, as it stands, only 3 in at the moment. Oh, just the 4th there as well. We can start on one of the fancy ones. That's View from the Stars. Mark Usher's representative from Hayley Turner. Is an alt from 15 coming into this. Now, is a fairly short price for one that's yet to get off the mark. However, when you look at the strength and depth to this race and you look at the consistency that View from the Stars has given, then you could start to understand the case. It's turning up just 4 days after finishing 5th at Chelmsford when close up behind Jumeirah Bridge, beaten 2 1/4 lengths. He's been running consistently though. It's hard to rule him out in a race of this nature. It does require a little bit of a leap of faith. You question why exactly hasn't he managed to get his head in front, given he's had so many goes. But generally, at least you like to think so, that consistency gets rewarded eventually in this type of grade. And if he keeps doing what he's doing, then he shouldn't be too far away. For win purposes, though, for me, it would just be a little bit of a leap of faith. Rugs are plenty in here. I can see numbers, though, are over just about the winner's podium. Number 1 is just coming into shot. That's Runabine, 4-year-old filly. Laura Coughlin claiming 5 for Edgar Giles. Hard to know what to make of this filly's chances tonight. You could excuse her the poor run last time. It's her first run for 14 months. And she ran as 66 to 1 suggested that she would do. Prior to that one with John Gallagher, she's shown some promise at huge prices in 3 very late doors novices and maidens. They were all here. She should strip fitter for that, but little to no market support for her, which would be once again a concern. And you'd imagine looking at her that she's going to tighten up from this further. Number 12 in here, who's a shorter price than initially, Oxygen Thief. Great name. Love the name Oxygen Thief. Joey Haynes for Chelsea Banham. Another maiden in here, but he's shown more than enough to suggest he can win something. The best run came last time at Lingfield over this trip when allowed to lead, and he just found too good closing in on him. He lost second yards from the line, and I think he might get a similar setup tonight. While he was bigger prices as well, and he's attracted a bit of support, which always is worth taking note, especially from the Chelsea Banham stable. Just in behind, number 8, that's Hannah's Return, 4-year-old filly for Taylor Fisher, claiming the 5 for Gary Brown. And after breaking through at the 6th time of asking, she struggled in her 3 subsequent runs. Usually running over 7 furlongs in a mile. Is a drop back to 6 going to be a little too sharp for her? It looked like that was the case when behind Griggy last September. But on her best form, you could definitely give her a chance. And Taylor Fisher's 5 is going to be a definite benefit to her. He was on last time, but that was over a mile. Never really looked comfortable over that kind of distance. I'd say others would have stronger claims, but at the same time, it's hard to rule her out. Number 6 in behind, that's Geneva, Lewis Edmonds for Jessica Macy. He got off the mark last time. That was his 6th run in total. It was a win in the classified, so a rung lower than this. But he did suggest that he had better in him with his seasonal reappearance prior to that at the same venue over 7, and there could be untapped potential. It's not hard to see why Geneva would be supported once again in the market. Pretty short, though, at the top for a horse stepping up into this kind of grade. The last one I'd like to look at is going to be the last to leave the parade ring, and that is Griggy, who's just about to pass the winner's podium. Griggy being number 4. Now, I think he's perfectly handicapped for a test like this. 2 of his 8 wins have come over course and distance. His last win was off this mark, and it wasn't too long ago. You're not having to hark back to find long ago back form. This was in October when with John Butler. Turned out to be his last run for John, and he's been making his way down the handicap ever since in 8 runs. And I think you could forgive him for not making the grade the last 3 times over 7 furlongs, because 6 furlongs is his bag. And he did run with credit in those 3, despite not necessarily always looking in love with the distance. A 3rd at a big price at Lingfield stood out in February, though, so it showed he could make an impact in it. Distance and the marker are positive. I think the draw isn't bad either. I thought he's got a serious chance of a place at least. Well, we'll see. It's a fascinating race, Tom, because when you have the likes of View from a Stars who's 0 from 15 and 7 to 2, it gives you some context into the type of company that you're talking about. Interesting the move for Oxygen Thief as well into 10 to 1.
Yes, a couple of market moves in this contest. View from the Stars is a horse who's been in decent nick recently, but I wouldn't have said it was a winner waiting to happen particularly, but there you go, he's in 7-2 now. Geneva is 5-4, View from the Stars 7-2, Forever Dreaming 11-2 from Sevens, Hannah's Return 7-1, 9-1 Oxygen Thief, Griggy is 16s, 22s for Liberty Bay, Ubaha is 33s, and Runner Bean is 100-1. Who do you like in this, George?
Well, Anthony just made a case for Griggy as an each-way bet, and I completely agree. He was my pick as an each-way angle in this. Interesting, they've been tweaking. He's been a gelding who's been very effective with headgear, and they tried him over 7 furlong last time at Wolverhampton. He didn't really get home. I think dropping back to 6, blinkers off angle, is encouraging. He's dropped to a mark where he's been very active off a mark of 53, and I think he's going to be mega competitive from stall 4. Finley Marsh will be able to get a good pitch. I think he wants to get a good position. I don't think it's going to be run a frenetic gallop, and he'll be seen to good effect.
Nice juicy prize as well. Can't argue with that, can you? No,
definitely not. And I'm a bit more confident that Anthony's jumped on board the wagon as such.
Absolutely, 2 of the great judges on board for Griggy. That is number 6 going down to post. That's the favourite. Chance?
Yeah, for sure. I thought it was a very good performance last time for Jessica Macy and Lewis Edmonds. It was a step forward in the right direction. It wasn't really seen to be coming in regards of when beaten by Win Power the time before, but they dropped back to 6 furlongs again after that 7 furlong effort. And it was pretty smooth. Himself and Lord Cherry drew a good way clear of the field, and he's gone up a good bit in the weights for that, but that was a much easier assignment, I feel, than this.
Interestingly, in that race as well, Lord Cherry has won since, so the form has worked out nicely for that.
Yeah,
contest.
For sure. Those 2 drew clear of a pretty weak field.
Yeah. Forever Dreaming, last time out winner as well. Asheen Murphy, just seen, who rode Golden Rules so impeccably in our previous race. Rod Millman, been in decent nick as well. Forever Dreaming can win again. It's not a great stall, is it, an 11?
That makes life difficult in what looks a competitive race. Obviously, 3 non-runners helps. And
yes.
Oisin would have got a good feel for her last time, up £2. And it was interesting, the blinkers added last time had a positive effect.
Indeed. Slightly unorthodox, aren't they, actually, that headgear, at least the colour of it. Hannah's Return. Taylor Fisher claiming £5 for Gary Brown. Probably needs to find a bit, I would say, on recent starts. But then there is an angle here that Hannah's Return is dropping back in trip, which could be a catalyst for an improved effort. What do you think?
For sure, she obviously needs to do a lot more than we saw behind Our Starlight, but the drop in trip, I think, will be a positive. She's sort of bred to be speedy, and to date, I feel like her sort of best trip we've seen her at has been 7 furlongs, so coming back down to 6 would be interested to see how she gets on.
Thoughts on View from the Stars, who's been fairly well supported today?
Yeah, I can't see the angle myself, apart from when runner last time, I thought did well.
I struggled to see the angle as well.
Did well from the position in the kickback at Chelmsford, but still 4-day turnaround, it wouldn't be for me the mark of support.
Asheen Murphy's just hopped off Forever Dreaming as they mill around, waiting to go into the stalls. We are past post time now.
Oxygen Thief's interesting. Obviously, Chelsea Banham's team have been not flying along recently, but mark of support, 8-day turnaround. But I think will be seen to good effect. He likes to be ridden positively, and there's not heaps and heaps of pace on paper. A lot of them like to be box seats, so an opportunity from Joey Haynes from stall 4 to go forward and get a good position. OK,
but you're going to go with the eldest member of the party, 7-year-old Griggy, to do the business here?
Yeah, I think he's a good each-way bet in this race, and I think he'll run very well.
OK, anything for the outsiders? Ubaha, Liberty Bay or Runner Bean?
No.
You're struggling a bit,
I'm
really, aren't you?
I'm going to stick with Griggy. That's my outsider.
Yeah, fair enough. To be fair, you have given us a nice juicy price there with Griggy. Right, let's get trackside and rejoin Anthony Dunkley with his final thoughts on this 8 o'clock. All yours.
Sorry for putting the knockers on your suggestion, George. I do like Griggy. I think 16-1 is overs on what we've seen and what we've seen he can do. We will see. Forever Dreaming. We didn't get to see Forever Dreaming in the paddock, and comes into this off the back of a win, which, like Geneva, is quite a rare commodity in here, and it really clicked last time in first-time blinkers under Asheen Murphy. Will they work again? That's the million-dollar question. It's going to be interesting. Well supported as well. Keeps getting clipped in now, 5-1. I find it a fascinating type of race. In that Geneva, we see plenty of these horses. They drop down into classified level. They finally get their breakthrough. Some of them follow up, but they're very different types of races classified. Tom, George, you see plenty of these along with myself throughout the course of the season, or the winter season. It's a very different type of race. They race up levels in classified, getting weight, but it's a higher grade ultimately, even if just marginally. And sometimes it can be a stumbling block for a few of the horses. That's Runner Bean, about to head forward. Big price in here, very big price, Runner Bean. Just second run for Ed de Giles, and will be the last one to load as it stands. Even though it's low grade, I am looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to seeing if Oxygen Thief goes forward from stall 4. We'll see with John.
Gates back and away they go. They are racing. Rather slowly away, Ubahar also quite slowly out the gate. Forever Dreaming with Murphy looking for his treble as they go through the first furlong in the Unibet money back on selected Cheltenham races handicap. And Geneva started well, the light coloured jacket. Oxygen Thief is up the inside there, the grey horse in the sheepskin noseband. Then Hannah's Return in the black and yellow colours. View from the Stars now is being lit up to go around the outside, as indeed is Runner Bean. They're then followed by Griggy towards the outside is Liberty Bay. Then View from the Stars towards the rear of the field, and then after that we've got Forever Dreaming and Ubahar still at the back of the field. 3 furlongs left to go, and the leaders with Oxygen Thief to on the outside Runner Bean. In between the pair Geneva looking for a gap up the inside rail is Hannah's Return there, the black and yellow colours there, then followed by Liberty Bay who sits in 5th, and then Griggy. View from the Stars is travelling powerfully and looking for a gap to appear. Inside the final 2 furlongs they go. Geneva, Oxygen Thief, here comes Hannah's Return over on the far side, then View from the Stars and Griggy. These 5 as they go inside the final furlong now, and it's opened up beautifully for Hannah's Return. Geneva is battling back. View from the Stars is staying on strongly as well. Hannah's Return by 3/4 of a length though as they race up towards the line. Hannah's Return hanging on grimly. View from the Stars diving. Hannah's Return to View from the Stars, then Geneva in 3rd, Griggy in 4th.
Well, Hannah's Return has shown great resolution in the finish. Taylor Fisher claiming the 5 for Gary Brown and adding to her tally. In a really close run thing. View from the Stars once again running the race, but ultimately not quite getting there, and takes his record to 0 from 16 as it stands. Hannah's Return wasn't a frequent winner herself, and the drop back to 6 posed a bit of a question mark for me, having shown her best form over 7. But Taylor Fisher, I think, has judged this perfectly. Sat just in behind a pace that was at least even, if not contested at the beginning. I think he's perfectly positioned, and once the cutaway came, his fillies responded in spades, probably more so than I gave her credit for in the paddock piece. She's shown a new dimension to herself there, and while it has set up nicely for her, and while Geneva also was in a really good position to strike, ultimately hasn't quite been able to go through with it. Griggy, setup was good for him, no excuses in behind, has been a clear 4th in the end, but a couple of lengths off the leaders. And Hannah's Return is a winner once again, Tom. It's been a couple of runs since, but I thought there were others with stronger claims. How wrong was I?
Well, I was wrong as well, Anthony, I have to say. Hannah's Return wins for the first time on Polytrack. Had been a winner on Tappiter at Wolverhampton, now gets Kempton under her belt as well. Drop back in trip here make the difference, George, do you think?
I think so, and had a really, really sort of good trip from stall 1. Ground-saving sort of journey from stall 2, but it was on the rail, and Taylor Fisher rode for luck. And we saw the difference between getting a sort of lucky trip round and that rail run at the intersection. Difference between winning and losing for View from the Stars, who was ultimately very unlucky. Yeah, and quite keen in the early part of the race as well, which hasn't helped his finishing kick, I don't think. No, but that's his normal setup, Tom. He's a free-going type. He has a hood on for a reason. And Hayley, you can see, is tracking the winner. She decides to come towards the middle of the track, and she gets shut off and has to wait for a run, and ends up pulling outside Lewis Edmonds on Geneva, and she just ran onto sort of heels of Oxygen Thief at a key stage.
Do you see? I don't know if you saw Forever Dreaming exploring the other side of Berkshire there, on the completely opposite side of the track under Rasheen. I don't know if something was wrong there, but he went very wide off the Hope Bend and then never really sighted him after that. But
yeah, it'll be interesting to see the head-on, won't it?
Yeah, it would be.
I sort of missed that real time. So, and Griggy, our each-way bet, finished 4th, ran well in defeat.
Did run well in defeat. I think there's going to be races to be won with him in the near future. Let's have a look at this head-on. There is Rasheen Murphy on the far right, Forever Dreaming. And for whatever reason, George is stuck out in the middle.
Yeah, I think ultimately it looks like she's leaning that way, and Oisin obviously got a stick in the correct hand, but I don't think she looks like she's moving particularly well, so maybe something's amiss.
Yeah, quite possibly. And of course, when I said Berkshire, I was being extremely hyperbolic, because that is not the county that those runners are in. But it was a close finish. View from the stars.
It sounded good, though.
It did say, it sounded good in my head, and then it didn't sound particularly good when I said it, did it? Because it was wrong. The amount of times I go there as well, I mean, that is just phenomenally embarrassing, really. Geneva had every chance, just couldn't quite find enough in the closing stages.
Yeah, it was beautifully positioned under Lewis Edmonds, and as we sort of alluded to, was found a very good opportunity when winning a competitive Class 5 where the front two drew clear and the rest of them were sort of no-shows, but it was a good run again, and interestingly that the winner dropping back 2 furlongs has been a massive plus, and she is going to get a little rise in the weights, but I would have thought she'd be competitive again.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's nice to see Hannah's return get the job done. I think she was quite plucky there, actually. She could have given up the ghost, but she kept on going straight forward to the line.
Yeah, for sure. There's Gary Brown. I'm sure he'd be delighted. I mean, I think he had a handful of winners on the flat last year, and he's mainly a jumping string, so it'll be a good result for him and the team. Yeah,
it certainly will be. Well done to them. Taylor Fisher, a nice ride on that far side rail. 13-2. Hannah's return returns. Second was View from the Stars, 4-1. Third was Geneva at 11-8 favourites. And the winning time was 1:12.31, 1.31 seconds above standard. That was the second fastest time on the night so far.